Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a virtual world deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck is an extremely powerful deck to play this format, especially with all those spicy tech cards I've included in this build for you guys. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell on there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name scratched in every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Lulu. Lulu is one of the most powerful cards in the entire deck, and this card is just a really amazing card. As if this card is in your hand, you can target a virtual world card you control. Send a virtual card with a different type monster, spell, or trap from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon this card. Then you get a unique ability, because all of your virtual world monsters share that previous effect, which is so cool to instantly special summon them out to your side of the field. And this card's unique ability is to let you add a virtual card from your deck to your hand of the 3rd type, which is a really cool ability just to instantly get a card from your deck to your hand. This card is also a tuner, which helps you go in for a bunch of really cool synchro plays, which is really nice. And all of your virtual monsters also have the ability to only special summon level or rank 3 higher monsters for the rest of the turn, which is not that big of a deal because that's pretty much all we're playing. We then play 3 copies of GG. GG is really good as a 3-of in the deck because this card is a really cool ability that if this card is special summoned by its effect, then during the end phase of this turn you get to add a virtual world monster from your graveyard to your hand. We then play 3 copies of Lao Lao. Lao Lao is definitely a 3-of as well because this card is also a tuner in your deck, and it has the ability that then you can special summon a virtual world monster from your graveyard in defense position with a different name than the card sent to the graveyard, but negate its effect for the rest of the turn, which is great that this card is basically like a monster reborn for the deck. We then play 3 copies of Lily. Lily is really cool as a 3-of in the build as well because this card has a super unique ability that once you use its effect to special summon this card, you get to send a virtual card of the 3rd type from your deck to the graveyard, which is such a powerful effect to instantly get one of your cards to the grave. We then play 2 copies of Hime. Hime is really good as a 2-of in the deck, and this card is actually super unique because it doesn't share the abilities like your other virtual cards of using the 3 different types. This card has the ability, if a level 3 monster is normal or special summoned to your field, while this card is in your graveyard except during the damage step, you can special summon this card as a tuner but banish it when it leaves the field. Also for the rest of the turn, you can only special summon level or rank 3 or higher monsters, which the entire deck shares that common effect. And if this card is banished, you actually get to target one of your other banished cards and shuffle it in the deck, which is a pretty cool effect. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is definitely a 3-of just to stop your opponent from touching the deck. We then play 3 copies of Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is also really good as a 3-of in the build just to stop your opponent's monster effects. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get in to the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is definitely a 1-of in the build, just to stop your opponent from hand trapping you while you're going in for all of your plays. We're then playing 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity. Pot of Prosperity helps out a lot in the build, just to help you dig into the deck, because we don't need everything in the extra deck. We then play 3 copies of Kowloon. Kowloon is definitely a 3-of in the deck, and this card helps out a lot because it lets you place a virtual gate card from your deck face up in your spell and trap card zone. Then you can apply the following effects in sequence based on the number of virtual gate cards you control. If you have 2, all virtual monsters you control gain 200 attack this turn. If you control 3, you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the grave. And if you control 4, you get to special summon it to 4 virtual monsters with different names from your extract, which is a pretty cool ability, but it usually doesn't go off with the 4 effect. We then play 3 copies of Kwang Long. This card is definitely a 3-of in the deck, and it has the ability that you can banish a virtual card from the graveyard, and then target a face-up monster on the field and negate its effect until the end of the turn, even if this card leaves the field. And you can also banish this card in the graveyard, then add a virtual world monster from your deck to your hand, then send a card from your hand to the grave, which is a pretty cool ability that you can basically use this card almost like a Rhoda by banishing it from the grave. We then play 3 copies of Itelli. Itelli is definitely a 3 of in the deck to basically just special summon out the exact monster you want to your side of the field. Since a bunch of our cards are psychic, this card is absolutely crazy. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Transaction Rollback. Transaction Rollback is definitely a one of in the build because you can actually send this card from the deck to the graveyard off your copy of Beatrice, which is a really powerful card. And this card is a really cool ability. You can banish this card from the graveyard and then pay half your life points to target a normal trap in the graveyard except another copy of Transaction Rollback, and then copy its effect when it would be activated. We have a really spicy tech card, and I'm actually going to lay face down and we're going to play Guess That Card. So guess what this really spicy tech card is that we're using with Transaction Rollback, and it's a really awesome card. So definitely comment down below what you think this really spicy tech card is, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, guys, and definitely hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad because every subscriber counts because we're almost to 100k subscribers. So we're going to reveal this card in 3, 2, 1, and definitely comment down below what you think this spicy tech card is, and let's go ahead and see what it is. And it's going to be a single copy of a really powerful card, Ghost Meets Girl, a Masterful Mayakashi Shiranui Saga. This card is really insane to be able to play in the deck because this card is ability to tribute a Shiranui or a Mayakashi Synchro or Link monster, and neither player can special summon monsters from the hand, deck, or extract for the rest of the turn, which is a really cool ability because when you activate Transaction Rollback, you don't have to tribute. It's just when it is activated. So it basically makes it so neither player can special summon monsters from the hand, deck, or extract for the rest of the turn, which is a really insane ability to use the Transaction Rollback to just banish it from the graveyard and copy this effect. We then play a single copy of one of the Virtual World Gates. This card is really insane as a one of. This card is just really good overall. It's during the battle phase, if you control another Virtual World Gate, you can actually target one face-up monster on the field and change its battle position, and during your main phase, you can banish this card from the graveyard to target a virtual monster in your graveyard and special summon it but negate its effect, then send a card from your hand to the graveyard. We then play 2 copies of the other Virtual World Gate trap card. This card is also really good as a 2 of in the build, as it lets you target one face-up card on the field, shuffle 2 cards of your banished virtual cards with different names from each other into the deck, and then destroy that card, which is great to use this card to spot remove cards off the field. Also, during your main phase, you can banish this card from the graveyard and then target a virtual world monster you control and increase or the level or rank or that monster by 3 until the end of the turn, helping you get to the exact level that you need. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is really good as a 3 of in the build, basically just to stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start with a single copy of the Virtual World QB. This card is an amazing one of in the deck, that any card sent from the field to the graveyard is banished instead, which is a really powerful effect, especially with so many decks running around right now that are graveyard reliant. This card also has the ability, when your monster declares an attack, you can return one banished monster to its owner's graveyard, and during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can actually banish 2 other monsters from your graveyard with different original types and attributes from each other to special summon this card back from the grave. So it's very hard to be able to get rid of this card because it can bring itself back. We then play a single copy of our Baron de Fleur replacement, and that's going to be a single copy of the Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign. And this card is really powerful because there's a lot of cards in this deck that actually banish. So this card has the ability for each banished card, this card gains 100 attack and defense, and monsters your opponent control lose 100 attack and defense. And if this card would be destroyed by card effects, you can actually banish one card from your graveyard instead. And if a card is banished, except during the damage step, you can actually banish one card each from your opponent's field field engrave, which is a really awesome ability. We then play a single copy of the Virtual World Beast. This card is really good as a 1-of because it can be destroyed by battle or by card effects while you have 2 or more monsters in your graveyard with the same original type and attribute, but different names. You can also banish 2 monsters from your graveyard with the same type and attribute but different names, and then target 1 card on the field and send it to the graveyard, which is a really powerful effect to use this card. We then play a single copy of the Golden Cloud Beast. This card is a great combo piece in the deck. Instead, this card is special summon. You can increase or decrease its level by 1, which helps you go in for your level 10 synchro plays, and it's just really good overall because if it's sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 face-up card your opponent controls and return it back to the hand. And then play a single copy of Stardust Charge Warrior. When this card is summoned, you do get to draw a card, which is pretty cool. Play a single copy of Coral Dragon because it is a tuner synchro monster, which is really helpful. And has a really powerful effect that once per turn you can discard a card and then target a card your opponent controls and destroy it. And if this synchro summon card is sent from the field to the grave, you get to draw a card. We then play a single copy of Ultimaya Tzolk'in. Tzolk'in is really easy to summon in the deck because we do have level 6 tuner monsters and level 6 normal monsters in the deck to be able to use to summon out this card, or just regular monsters, not normal monsters, just regular monsters to be able to make this card, is you don't have to actually use monsters to be able to make this card. And the normal way you would synchro summon, you just use basically monsters that are level 6 tuner and a level 6 monster that have matching levels to be able to make this card. And when you set a card to your side of the field that's a spell or trap, you get to summon out a copy of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, which is an awesome walking negate and a really good target to be able to summon off of Ultimaya Tzolk'in. We also play a single copy of Totem Bird. Totem Bird is really easy to summon in this deck and has a great ability that during either player's turn, when a spell or trap card is activated, you can detach 2 materials from this card to negate the activation if you destroy it, which is a really powerful ability. Play a single copy of Utopia Beyond because it's very easy to OTK your opponent with this card. Play a single copy of Beatrice. This is how we actually go in for the transaction rollback, essentially turn skip with this deck, which is really insane to be able to do. Play a single copy of Fan Fan. Fan Fan is just really good in the deck as a 1-of because once per turn, you can detach 2 materials from this card, target a face-up card your opponent controls, and 1 card in either player's graveyard and banish them. And if this XZ7 card is destroyed by battle or by an opponent's attacking monster, or by an opponent's card effect while it is in its monster zone, you can special summon 2 virtual monsters with the same type and attribute from each other from your deck to your side of the field, which is really good that this card actually replaces itself with 2 other cards. We then play a single copy of Lars. Lars is just really good as a walking negate in the deck and very easy to summon to your side of the field. Play a single copy of Gaia Charger to be able to put on top of any of our rank 6 monsters to give our copy of Zeus an extra material, which is great to be able to use as a board wipe for this deck. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played Virtual World before, you should definitely give this deck a try because it's really powerful, especially with the transaction rollback tech in this deck, which is so cool to be able to do. And you use Beatrice to be able to get those cards in the graveyard, which is really, really nice. So that's gonna be it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of our notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.